strong.
Welcome back to Crypto for Freedom, where we talk about gaining financial freedom through the cryptocurrency markets. If you guys like the content, make sure to smash the like button, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Let's jump into Dogecoin. Dogecoin on the weekly chart has been making higher highs and higher lows since 2023. You can see over here in October made a higher low, and now we're making a higher low in September, and the higher highs were back here in October, February, March, and October, November of last year. Now I still think the price has a chance to come up and make another high by the end of the year, coming up something like this. Although moving over to the daily chart, Dogecoin would have to break back into this ascending parallel channel. Right now, Dogecoin is having a pretty massive daily pump right here, but it looks like it's finding resistance, trying to break back into this channel. So unless we're able to actually break up into this channel and reestablish support, and we don't find resistance here, then we might end up getting rejected and fall into lower prices. Bitcoin has been making a rising wedge ever since 2021, making higher highs and higher lows, which is historically a bearish pattern. And now just recently, Bitcoin has been falling out of that rising wedge to the downside. If we go over to a smaller time frame, you can see that Bitcoin has actually backtested this rising wedge multiple times and got rejected with pretty consistent volume. Now, in my opinion, I think that we are going to be seeing a lot lower prices for Bitcoin over the next 1 year period because 560 days past the halving, we're seeing a peak for Bitcoin. In the 2021 cycle, 560 days past the halving, we saw a peak for Bitcoin, and in the 2017 cycle, roughly 560 days past the halving, we saw a peak for Bitcoin. Now, I think Bitcoin could come down and find a low by October, and considering we've seen 1 year bear markets every time, seeing Bitcoin drop 83% here, and then seeing Bitcoin drop 76% in the 2021-2022 bear market, and also now we could see diminishing losses with Bitcoin dropping, in my opinion, anywhere from 65 to 70% from the high, which would bring Bitcoin all the way down to 65% would be 43,000, and 70%, 68% would be about 40,000. So I think we could be seeing a $40,000 Bitcoin by October or November of 2026. So if you guys are considering buying Bitcoin and you want to put money into it, if you want to buy now, you need to make sure you have a 4-year time horizon, because if we take a look back at the last cycles, if you bought at the high there, it took you 850 days to get your money back. So if you're buying at the high now, you might not have your money back until February of 2028. That's why I kind of recommend dollar cost averaging into the market, doing a dynamic DCA where you're putting maybe $100 per month or $200 per month, whatever you can afford, and maybe you take 20% of that and you buy Bitcoin up here, and you put the other 80% of that into USDC or Tether on your hardware wallet, and then when the price starts to drop more and we get down to this level, maybe you change that dynamic DCA to 40% going into the market, and then when the price gets back down to this level, over here, maybe you put 80% in, and then when the price gets all the way back down here, that's when you start putting 100% of your money into the market. You start selling things, you start working extra, you start finding side hustles and doing whatever you can to buy Bitcoin in this accumulation phase down here before the price inevitably comes back up to 120K by the beginning of 2028. And you could be DCAing this whole dip and all the way back up and accumulating a really good position in Bitcoin. And I think that's the way to go, especially because if you look at the 7-year cycle theory for Dogecoin, it says that Dogecoin is going to lose value against Bitcoin for 7 years. Just like it did the first 7 years of its life cycle, you can see that Dogecoin clearly lost value against Bitcoin for 7 years, making lower highs against Bitcoin before finally breaking out against Bitcoin in the 2021 cycle and coming up into a new channel. And now since April of 2021, Dogecoin has been making lower highs again against Bitcoin, and we could see Dogecoin lose, a lot more value all the way until 2028, where eventually it will break out of this channel to the upside and create a higher high against Bitcoin, especially with increasing adoption with Dogecoin. And so you got to be able to hold on for the long term, have multiple streams of income and an emergency fund to protect your assets if you are in Dogecoin. Also, who knows, Bitcoin dominance might end up coming up and making a higher high to this cycle and really just shocking everybody with the institutional adoption and the game theory playing out right before our eyes. Maybe we will end up seeing a blow off top for Dogecoin, this cycle, but it's kind of looking like the XRP chart from 2021, where XRP made a lower high against the USD pair, and it took another 4 years for XRP to come up and make a new high. So I think something similar could happen with Dogecoin, where we made a lower high in the 2025 cycle, and we may have to wait through the bear market to come up and make a new higher high against its USD pair, and then boom, to the moon, baby. So just keep holding your conviction, guy. Keep holding your plays. Hopefully we do see an altcoin season this year to bring Dogecoin up, up into the $1 to $2 range. In the 2021 cycle, Dogecoin went on a parabolic run, 30,000%. And on the 2017 cycle, Dogecoin went up close to 10,000%. So, from the low, could we be seeing a 10,000% gain this cycle? That could bring Dogecoin all the way up to $6. Who knows? Anything's possible in crypto. But the thing is, you just gotta have to read the charts and do what's best for your family. And I know what was best for my family was to take life-changing gains, especially because Bitcoin is at that critical 560 days past the halving, where it usually starts the bear market. And I don't want to sell any of my Bitcoin because I'm not going to be able to buy back at this $20,000 level again if the price only comes down to 40,000. So I'm just going to try to keep dollar cost averaging in my position and wait for the next parabolic run, where hopefully Bitcoin's going to go up into the multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. And with that, everybody's faked out on this bull run, and you got to really hold on till the next cycle and have long-term conviction, diamond hands, be able to hodl and make it to the next cycle. So if you guys like the video, make sure to smash the like, subscribe if you're new, and check out all my other videos in the link below for my playlist. And make sure to always do your own research. Remember, none of this is financial advice. And with that, we'll catch you on the next video. Peace.